Cabco Collective. We're very excited to be launching our very first episode, your source for information, entertainment, and community. I'm your host, Caitlin.
I'm Amanda.
And we have today with us our very own Cabarrus County Sheriff, Van Shaw.
Hello.
So Van Shaw, he's been in law enforcement for more than 30 years. He worked with the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigations before he came here to Cabarrus County. He was elected in 2018. He also is a veteran. He was a second lieutenant in the Army Reserves and lots more accolades here. But he has served on lots of committees, from the Law Enforcement Subcommittee, North Carolina State Emergency Response Committee, Hazardous Materials, Public Health, Bioterrorism, North Carolina Isaac. Okay. Fusion Center Advisory Board. He is with the Cabarrus County Mental Health Task Force, Cabarrus County Human Trafficking Task Force, Cabarrus Leading for Equity Work Group, Mothers of Murdered Offspring, and he holds a bachelor's in criminal justice from Elon University.
Yes.
Wow.
He's well-rounded.
I think you cover everything. You are well fit for this
I like to stay
position.
busy.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit, what is your day-to-day as the sheriff over the whole county?
Day to day, the sheriff is responsible for, administering all of the statutory requirements of the sheriff's office. So there's things that by state law that we have to do. Some of those examples might be serving civil process. So whatever the court issues, be it a warrant, a subpoena, subpoenas for lawsuits, divorce. We're also responsible for carrying out evictions, those types of things, tax sales, if there's tax levy that's been leaned on a property, so we may do that. We're also responsible for running the detention center as well on a day-to-day basis. That's quite an undertaking. And we're also statutorily required to administer security at the courthouse and the conduct of courtroom, and secure the courtroom, the judges, the jurors, and maintain, demeanor and civility within the courtroom and the environment.
You all cover a lot.
So with all those various things that you have, how many officers do you actually have working within the sheriff's department?
We have a total of about 450 positions at the sheriff's office. About 285 of those are sworn deputies. There's well over 100 detention officers that work in the detention center. And then we also have telecommunicators, because we also run the 911 center for Cabarrus County. And we have a number of civilian employees that work in our animal shelter, which we also operate, our records division, and other support staff type of folks.
Now, with the detention center, how many inmates is it?
Right now, our average daily population is running around 330 inmates.
Now, how does that work as far as health care, things like that? Are they still, when they go in there, are they kind of just held there till, court, till they bond? Are they still able to receive all their medications, things like that?
Yes, we do, by law have to provide health care to include dental care. So on site at the detention center, we have a healthcare facility within the detention center. So we have a small clinic within the detention center. We contract for medical services. So there's always medical personnel in the detention center 24 hours a day. We're administering medication, handling medical call, that type of thing, sick call. If an inmate's having some type of medical issue, from the common cold to more complex issues. If they need to go to the hospital for advanced care, then we transport them to the hospital. Or we may end up even having to call EMS and transport them. Same thing, a lot of the dental work we do through the dental clinic. So if they need to have an extraction or having problems, so we make sure from the very beginning of them coming into the detention facility, they're medically evaluated, determining what medications they may be on, because our goal is we want to make sure they are able to maintain that treatment all the way through their stay with us. So we have short-term individuals that may be just there awaiting trial. They may be with us one day, they may be with us 1 year. We also have individuals that are serving sentences that may be with us for 2 or 3 years, depending on the situation. So.
Now, recently you all did something kind of different with the virtual. You all can have the virtual visits, or is it the deputies that can, when there's like a trial, they are able to go virtual instead of having to drive to another county or transport to another county, where it kind of saves taxpayers a little bit of money, so they can do it virtually.
We've been very fortunate. Our resident Superior Court judge, Judge McGee, has helped spearhead what is called as the CRAVE system in North Carolina. And
is that an acronym?
It is. Okay. It's courtroom audio visual experience.
Okay.
And to really boil it down, a lot of what we're doing in brief hearings now, instead of an inmate that might be, let's say, in a state prison somewhere else in North Carolina, instead of someone having to go pick them up, bring them back to Cabarrus County, having to house them overnight for what may be a 10-minute hearing, we're able to now do that through a video audio system. And so we can have first appearances, different types of petitions before the court, those types of things, and even not having to move them from the detention center to our courthouse. So it's we were a pilot program for North Carolina. It's beginning to pick up in other counties surrounding us, and literally it will be rolled out across the entire state.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there an estimate of how much money you've possibly saved by doing this?
We're in the very early stages.
Right.
We've been doing it on various levels for at least the past year, and a little bit into COVID. With CRAVE is a newer system through the Administrative Office of the Courts. Previously, we had used local IT assets to just do the detention center to the courthouse reduction, but we're tracking how many trips we're not having to make, which ends up in reduction of overtime hours, fuel wear and tear on vehicles.
It keeps our deputies here in the county.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So up and down the road. And I would think it would just be, I don't like driving the interstate just for, anybody wants to know, but I would think safety wise, just from not having, the inmates and the officers on the road that much, it just kind of limits down on more risk.
It does, and it allows the inmates to stay where they're comfortable. Maybe they've been in a facility for quite a while. It may be something that, just moving them and having to house them sometimes even for 3 and 4 days. They're not in a familiar environment. It's stressful. And then they're going to be turned around and transferred back and then in processed again. It becomes, but a lot of this really came out of COVID. How can we minimize the movement of inmates? Because, during COVID, we had the concern of, are y'all bringing us an inmate that potentially has COVID into our jail, right? Into our jail that we've been able to keep it out of, and vice versa. So it's eliminated so much of that.
Speaking of pilot programs and innovation, can you talk about the Cabarrus Sheriff's Department app? It's one of my favorite things that you have, and I don't know if a lot of people know about it.
Right.
I know it gets weather alerts. It will show you if there's inmates. What else does it do, and kind of how did that come about?
We it's through a company called the sheriffsapp.com, and I learned about it at one of our Sheriff's Association conferences and met with them, and they created an app specifically for Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office. Basically, anything you need to do, especially administratively, whether it's a concealed carry permit, whether it's scheduling an inmate visitation, applying for a job or anything, you can do through the app. One of the great features of it is that it also serves as an inmate directory. So you can see who is coming to the jail literally today. And it also has a very, what we saw as the most valuable tool was the victim notification piece. So if you're a victim of a crime, you know the individual's been arrested, placed in jail under a bond, you can set up a notification that when that individual is released from jail, it will notify you by text, email, and phone call. So it's really important for victims to kind of be able to track, that individual. So it has a photograph. It tells you what they were arrested for, what their current bond is for. It's simple to use. There's other resources there of contact numbers, just general information that someone may be looking to find. And if they download it, they can go to the Google store or Apple store.
We'll link it in the notes.
Yeah, and just look for Cabarrus County Sheriff, and the app is there. It's free to download. It's really simple to use. Has a lot of different notification features, and like most apps, you can turn them on and off. If you don't need the weather notifications, you can go in and turn those off. So there's a number of things. We also put press releases out. We link it with our social media. So it's really a one-stop shop to kind of learn anything you want to learn about the sheriff's office.
There's a lot.
I like the weather part, so that way when my kids are at work, I'm like, there's like a storm coming,
Yeah.
so they can be prepared.
Yes, exactly.
So with kind of that program, what other ways do you all kind of
Connect with the community.
with the community? Like I know you all did the safety meetings last year.
Yes.
Now, will you all continue to do those, or how can people kind of find out what all is going on crime-wise, like in their areas?
Absolutely. They can reach out directly to the sheriff's office. They can call our main line, which is 704-920-3000, and connect with me directly. They can certainly email the main email address. All that can be found either on the app or our website. So it's right there. You can email me. We'll set up a community meeting. And what we do in those community meetings is come and give you information specific to the area of the county that you live in.
They're really informative.
Right. And so we try to pull all the statistics from traffic stops to crime to everything and talk about them and relate to what we're doing. So I hope to start those back up the first of the year. We did them last year and we thought they went really well. I encourage people to come out to them. I'm there, I stick around, I answer any questions I can. We invite other local elected officials to attend them as well. So you never know who's going to be there and who you might be able to also talk to.
Free to set up,
Yes.
free to attend.
Yes.
I think after the last one, everybody was lock your car doors.
Yes.
And I have now locked my car door religiously
absolutely.
after that.
And I learned that not to leave it running because they will
Yes.
come and take your car.
That's exactly right.
So it is very informative, and it's interesting just to see different parts of the county, how some things may be more prevalent happening than, on the north end of the county versus the east side of the county. So it's really good to know what's going on in your specific area.
Yeah, we have very diverse, communities in our county, and some that, believe it or not, there's still some very rural areas of our county, and then areas that are very densely populated. So every one of them's a little different, and it's tailored towards that community.
Now, how do you all work with the different municipalities? Because that's a lot of ground to cover, and we know we have, the city, so the city has their own department, police department. So how do you all, with the municipalities, are you kind of contracted out, or is it broken up, different zones? Just how does that work?
So, with the sheriff's office, we have jurisdiction throughout all 360 square miles of Cabarrus County. And obviously because of civil, because of our work in animal control, we're throughout the entire county. We're in Concord, Kannapolis, we're everywhere.
Everywhere,
Yes.
at all
I see the
times.
cars everywhere.
Yeah, and so we work very well with Concord PD and Kannapolis, working with them to back each other up on calls. If there's a Kannapolis car that's closer to a location just outside their city in the county, they'll gladly go out and help us with it. And so we're all looking out for each other. But the main key is get someone there as quick as we can. As far as the municipalities of Harrisburg, Mount Pleasant, and Midland, we provide police services to their towns on a contractual basis. So we in effect are the police department for those three towns and have great working relationships with them, you know, providing those services, making sure they're tailored to what each one of those municipalities need. It's a little different. You know, Harrisburg is different. We're heavy on traffic enforcement in Harrisburg.
49.
Yes. And, you know, Mount Pleasant's a little bit different than Midland. So we do everything that a regular municipal police department would do in those towns as well.
Okay.
So
Sometimes in the municipalities or even, you know, in the rural areas, the troopers, you know, you see them out there. Now, do they only cover like certain roads in the area versus like the sheriff's department, or how does that work? Because I always get confused. I'm
yes.
Like, is a trooper going to come to this, or is it sheriff's deputy?
We do have a traffic unit that is dedicated to education, traffic education and enforcement. Our education piece is geared more towards the high school new driver. So we have programs that we work with them on. We also enforce speeding throughout the county, especially on our more rural roads, Highway 49, 601, those types of things. Generally speaking, the highway patrol is going to handle wrecks and enforcement on North Carolina highways and state roads.
Okay.
The reality is there's not a lot of them. And so early on, I took the stance of we're going to help the highway patrol out. So if you have a wreck and it's a minor wreck, then we're going to go ahead and do that wreck report for you and try and get you on your way. You know, a little bump up, you know, that type of thing, but you're going to need a wreck report for insurance purposes. We'll come out there and handle that. It alleviates them, lets them pay attention to the interstate, as well as the busier highways, and we're going to make sure that people are getting the service they need and addressing speed complaints and everything in the rural areas.
So there's a lot of collaboration and
There
working
is.
together. Now, do you guys all meet together then? Do you have like a monthly meeting or a weekly meeting or?
We currently set up a quarterly meeting between the command staffs of the sheriff's office, Concord Police, Kannapolis Police, and the highway patrol.
Awesome.
So once every quarter, all of us get in a room, all of our command staff, we talk about crime trends, issues, things that we can collaborate on, new innovation that maybe one agency is using and the other agency would like to know, how's it going? Is it worth my investment? Those types of things. And quite frankly, it helps because if I know one agency's trying something out, then I'm going to hold off before I jump in.
You experiment with that.
I'm like, tell me how it goes before I spend the money. And it's just been extremely valuable. You know, we do it over lunch, and then it builds those relationships when we are all together on the scene of a significant event. We know each other, we've worked together, we've talked, and we can be more effective for the community.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. How do you all get funding for certain things? I know that, you know, part of it comes from the county, but do you also get grants, assets that may be seized from different, you know, crimes committed, things like that? How do you all?
We do a little bit of everything. Our budget is set.
That's a theme. The
That's
sheriff's
right.
office does it all.
Well,
Yes.
and so the commissioners set our budget every year and do a great job of providing for meeting our needs. We also have opportunities to apply for certain grant programs like the Governor's Highway Safety Commission. Our traffic enforcement is done through that grant program that pays for the vehicles and the salaries and those types of things. We also have a BikeSafe where we go out in the community and instruct on the safe operation of motorcycles. Even advanced riders enjoy coming to our classes. So we're constantly looking at those. We've gotten COPS grants in the past, Governor's Crime Commission grants in the past that help us buy equipment. It may cover some type of overtime. We've also received legislative earmarks as well that helped us fund positions like our human trafficking investigators. So about a year ago, we received that funding. from the legislature to be able to fund 2 positions that are dedicated to investigating human trafficking and child sexual exploitation, which is a growing problem. We also, state and federal law allows for the seizure of assets related to illicit drug sales and the tremendous amount of assets that they accumulate through the illegal drug trade. So we have the state drug tax program, and then we have the federal asset forfeiture program. And so what we use that money for is to purchase things that aren't necessarily provided for in our budget, but we would like to do.
Like a fun one-off thing.
Exactly, that is a good program, and it's a way we can utilize that money and offset not having to use taxpayers' money. So when it came time to replace our mobile command post, we used funds from the forfeiture fund. When we wanted to buy new golf carts and equipment for our educational program, our Fatal Vision program, to demonstrate why kids shouldn't text and drive, shouldn't drink and drive, we used our drug tax money. So it's that forfeited money from drug dealers that's going back to educate the community, help the community, make us better responders to the community. And we also use it if we're looking at new technology for our drug investigations and our criminal investigations.
Awesome.
We'll use that money to buy those types of things.
It's Uno reverse.
Well, it's it for a positive and for us to be able to have extra resources.
Exactly, and so it makes it where we can share those resources with other agencies as they do the same thing, and it just makes for a better agency. And technology is the biggest challenge, is staying ahead of technology. I mean, there's not a crime hardly committed that doesn't at least involve a cell phone, and it's a smartphone.
There are cameras everywhere.
Excuse me, and cameras, Ring doorbells, computers. So on that side of the house, we really work hard to make sure we've got the technology to be able to extract that data from those devices that we need, and it's not cheap.
Yeah, it doesn't happen like on TV. Within 24 hours, you just go into a room and they just pull it all out.
No, ma'am. I caution people against the 1 hour episode of where everything gets cleared up and evidence is back from the crime laboratory, or it is, and so we try to also be cognizant of victims being frustrated. Why is it taking this long? And explain to them what the reality is of having to deal with some of this technology.
Well, that's a lot of information, a lot of what you do, and we're coming up on time here. So, and as we wrap things up, what are ways that if an individual wants to support the sheriff's department, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know that Concord has their foundation,
right?
So if they want to give to the sheriff's department, are there things that you would recommend that a citizen do? Could they give financially? Can they bring you lunch? Like, what are ways, like, if they want to show appreciation, what's the best way for them to show appreciation?
Yes, we do have a nonprofit organization that is our employee support fund, and it's a 501c3. It has a board, and what we do is try to provide support with any law enforcement family, predominantly within the sheriff's office, but we've provided support outside that may be going through, their spouse or child has cancer, they have cancer. We're there to provide financial support to them. It could be a tragic accident, injury, whatever the case may be. That's one way to help. That goes directly to helping those employees. All the money goes to support them. We also, have programs. We have inmate programs where you can volunteer in the jail. We're in the process of working on a Citizens Academy where we're going to expand some more volunteer opportunities.
Nice.
As well. We're willing to come out in the community and work with different groups to help them. We have a number of groups that have done everything from writing thank you cards to the men and women at the sheriff's office, to delivering a goodie bag or something to say we always welcome those. We love those. You can contribute if you like the furry officers, the canines, to clear that up. You can donate to our canine program as
that's
well
awesome.
to support the dogs and
They are my
some
favorite.
of the they are.
They're the cutest. Sorry.
They are. They always win out over me every time. So there's a number of ways. The other thing I would say in supporting us and helping us, if you see something, call us. If you hear something, call us. If you perceive you've got a crime issue, a problem, a complaint, reach out to us. We struggle with, if we don't know about it, if we're not getting help from the community, we can't fix it. So don't ever hesitate to pick up the phone and call 911. Yes, it's a busy place, but we'd rather have your call than not have your call. So call us. Lock your car doors, secure your firearms, do the little things that keep you safe. It's really common sense, but sometimes we all get in a hurry. We forget to do those things. We accidentally forget, but it does contribute to you potentially becoming a victim of a crime.
Thank you so much. That's a lot of information, giving us a small recap. Go download the Cabarrus County Sheriff's app. We'll link it below. We'll link the website as well. So if you want to reach out, volunteer, or give, you'll have that information there. Thank you for watching the Cabco Collective. Follow us on all social media at Cabco Collective. If you want to reach out to us, be a guest, share some information, or your experience with the Sheriff's Department, you can email us at cabcopod@gmail.com. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.